Doing it. Hey YouTube, welcome back to the Embassy here on YouTube. This is your Ambassador Al, Ambassador of winning, positivity, good vibes, and we do a lot of Crucible on here. And guess what? There's some big Crucible changes coming. I'm not an envoy, so I'm going to have the actual meeting and interview with the devs to talk about changes coming up in the next season. But Dorky is, and so we're gonna watch Dorky Dad's video and we're gonna react to it, and we're gonna be like, "Oh, that's so great!" Or like, "Just a monkey's paw? Be careful what you wish for," sort of thing. We're gonna find out. So let's check it out. I have not watched it yet. All I know is big things are coming. Let's go.
In Cosmic Crucible. Now, the Envoys had a meeting with the lead developers in Cosmic
Yeah.
Crucible, and we got to ask them a lot of questions, grilled them on a lot of things I know you guys have been concerned about in the past, and we got a lot of really good responses from them. And now we kind of know where their mind was at when they made some of these decisions and where their mind is at now after a lot of feedback.
Well, the head was up their butt.
I'm going to be giving you the cliff notes of that interview. I think you guys are going to be really excited for some of the changes coming, and I got some questions to propose to you. Please make sure you let your opinion be known in the comment sections below. I'm going to have a couple of questions up there. You can give a thumbs up, thumbs down, or give some comments to, and I'll be forwarding that directly to these developers.
I don't want the conveyor belt of like, hey, it's the same teams, just move a room, another Wakanda, another more, everything's prescribed. Hopefully we have more theory crafting, more choices. We got teams with Crucible bonuses, but let us pick where to use them.
The thing to know before we get into this is what they were thinking with this current season, because I know a lot of us really dislike
make it more obvious what teams would be good and where,
the length of the season, and of course how that whole
conveyor
belt thing was happening.
Wanted Crucible teams to retain value for a longer time.
Everything down from the prior season down 2 stages, and then they only introduced 2 new stages.
Yeah, the whole conveyor belt thing. Boring.
Well, they wanted to make it more obvious where teams would be good for casual.
It couldn't be more obvious.
So, think like the Tangled Web Eternals room. Obviously, that's going
to be more obvious to put teams.
To those teams, there was defensive tags only put on them, so people defaulted to that. Think the Rebirth room. People defaulted.
Guess what? We're all doing. We actually
defaulted to Unlimited.
Pull Tangled out of here because we just didn't. It wasn't worth it.
The Conan room, right? So that's 4 of our stages, though. It was way too much. They wanted it to be easier for the casual player.
I hate that Rebirth room.
Because you guys and me and all the people on Twitch, we are what you would call hyper engaged players. So theory crafting for us is really fun, and it's really, really important. But let's say maybe 10% of the game's community actually engages with the other sources of online content.
That's true. A lot of people don't even play Crucible.
90% would kind of be lost, and then they would never be able to grow up in leagues.
Oh no, what's happening? So they just put default teams in.
How they could,
I guess, but designing a team around
it's to promote your envoys more, right? Get the socials out there.
Designing the game mode around the sheepiest sheep who don't know what's happening, who don't actually engage with it, who don't even play it 3 times a week or even 1 time a week. That's not a good look. Design it for those who actually want to play it and have so much fun that I was like, hey, they're having fun. I want to try that too. Don't design like, hey, I know you don't really like it, but would this make you kind of like it?
Get people engaged with your content creators so that they can see what other people are doing and have more fun.
Could be more money, I guess they think.
It's more involved with the community.
That's weird.
That's where they were at. And they wanted, not waned, they wanted Crucible teams to retain value for a longer time.
I get it.
So
if you're going to sell a team,
Crucible first came out, right?
Like Wakanda.
They started falling off, especially right away with
Unlimited
Avengers. But they started falling off. So
the Horseman of Crucible. Is Rogue the best character in Crucible?
The team
no.
Have a longer lifespan.
But how bad would that team be if they didn't get Crucible bonuses?
Put them on the defense and make sure that young Avengers could no longer reliably get them down. And I mean, they successfully did that.
It made sense.
But they did it in such a way that, Darkhold started beating it, and then they gated Darkhold from it because they wanted you to use Master of Evil.
Ham-handed changes.
I think I know why they did
that. Ham-fisted changes.
Slide. But this was the idea. They wanted your Crucible teams that you're investing in to actually last
but they're okay
longer
with,
than most
but they want Darkhold to stop having all this value.
They wanted your Crucible investments to last longer than.
Don't have Darkhold have too much value, but other teams have not lose value fast.
They only lasted less than a year.
They didn't do a good job of that.
Wakandans have lasted more than a year in the Crucible meta, and I think they still will. But that was their idea to make.
Only in terms of putting them in there,
they wanted. Let's go see where they're going.
They're not
so
good.
Based on the feedback from us and from you guys, and honestly, just from the numbers they see
more
of people
theory
playing
crafting.
Crucible, they had to make some changes. And I think the outrage on the conveyor belt thing
was
a huge push in this direction.
Global rules. Hey.
Stages will now be made for theory crafting. So an example of that: more broad tags, including more characters. So you're unlikely to see Tangled Web Eternals, and you're more likely to see.
Yeah, it's talking at the same time. You're right. Absolutely right. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it on this one. I want to see, but what does that mean? Like, hey, for season 3, Infinity Watch rules the entire all 6 rooms, but figure out where you want to use them. Masters of Evil are great across every room in Crucible, but only for this season. Next season they'll only be kind of good. Like, is that what they're going for? And is that any better? And will it probably be teams they want us to buy? Let's be honest, that's what it's going to be. I want to see positive changes, but I'm so burned. I'm nervous for the negative changes. Let's see what else.
I don't know. Symbiotes, Spider-Verse, Underworld, like 5 or 6 of them at the same time, or maybe just city characters or global characters or skill characters. You're more likely to see these very broad tags for people to play around with. It's the global rule now.
Yeah, broad tags are good. Spider-Verse, make us figure, oh, do I want to use Scream? Actually, no, you don't. It's a bad character, but make you think you do. Like I liked Age of X. It's Hero Mutants. There were so many to pick from. People were doing dad bros and weird combos, and that was actually kind of fun. It turns out most of those were kind of sucky, but it made us give us a chance to make bad choices. Don't make it obvious. So it's cookie cutter and there's only one cookie. Ugh.
It will be used to feature a specific team. So, we just had New Warriors. That would have been for this season, I assume. Masters of Evil would have been for the season before that. Unlimited for the season before that, which was the case, right? We did have the Age of X, though they just ended up on defense because the mirror matchup was a gong show. So that is going to be the new it going forward. So stages will be made for Theorycraft, and it's not always going to be tags, right? It could be defending characters get 500% speed bar. Hopefully they never do that, but that's just the kind of thing I'm trying to say. It's not always going to be X team or X skill or X origin gets these buffs. It could be, what would be portable shield, right? Fortifiers, when they use their ultimate, they share it. It'll be rooms more like that, which I think is a lot more fun and a lot more creative. And they have the global room. I think that's fair.
Okay.
Like they need to sell their teams. This is what the industry is based off, right? So every season, I think you can probably expect at least one Crucible to be sold. We'll talk about the lifespan of seasons in a second, but I think you can expect one Crucible team to be sold and then featured in the following season would be my guess, so that the players get the full value.
Yeah, I mean they're based around. They always want 2 things. One, keep us happy enough to not quit. Get us frustrated enough to want to spend through further achievements. So that means selling us Crucible characters, but then also no one's going to buy a Crucible character if they're not good in Crucible, and if not good in Crucible for at least a full season, probably longer than that you would think, but they'll let us know how long it takes for us to move along and sell something new. We'll see. But just one team at a time, guys.
Of that team they invested in. A big thing that people talk about is the number of stages. For me and people that I hang around with, our rosters are so deep. They're so built high because of war, because of raids, and all this. And we feel like we're actually wasting a lot of our potential of the roster. So we kind of want more rooms. But here's the thing. That's not likely to happen anytime soon.
No.
Doing so would result in the new Crucible player experience to be very bad. Think about it. You hit level 65, you're thrown into Crucible. You probably only have 1, 2, maybe 3 teams built, but you need 12, right? You need 6 for offense and 6 for defense. So out of nowhere, it's just garbage for you. And then
that's a great point. I've seen many people come in my chat and they're like, I'm like, oh, what do you use them for this versus this? I'm like, wait, well, what do you have on defense? And they said nothing. I'm like, nothing. They go, no, actually, literally nothing. I only have like 6 good offensive teams, and I want the currency from getting wins. I want to win. Even if I have a 7th team, I'll use them as a backup. I don't care. Their defense is literally the hand team defaults. Like, oh yeah. So don't forget, it's not just the Dorky Dads, the Ambassador Owls, the Kill Shots, the Juicies, the Taco Shooters, Sessies. Shout out Gandorfs, people who are top 50 of Batwalk, Mirror Build. It's not just the top 100 who care about Crucible. There's a lot of other players in the game. And I want you guys to have a good time at Crucible too. And putting 7, 8, 10 rooms would be bad. We have proposed at one point, like, hey, maybe if you're in a different, once you change leagues, if you go from like gold to diamond to platinum, or platinum to diamond to masters, not 1, 2, and 3, but a jump of a league name, then maybe you get more rooms. Maybe you have 4 rooms at the bottom, and then 6 rooms in the middle, and 8 rooms at the top. I don't know where the cutoff would be, but if you have, if we're in masters, we can do 8 rooms, not a problem. I don't want 10 and 12 rooms. God, 8 rooms would be fine. 8 offense, 8 defense, be kind of cool. But if you're just hitting gold or bronze or wherever rich on ships is, maybe it's just 2 rooms. No, maybe it's just 4 rooms. A smaller crucible and for smaller crucible for smaller rosters, larger crucible for larger rosters. It seems pretty easy to do. It would change some of the events and the balancing, that sort of thing. Like you get 100 points per attack, but they're doing it per like successful attack with a certain team anyway right now. Like use your nowhere team, use your Master Evil team, use your, you know, New Warriors team and get points for it. So whether you had 4 rooms, 6 rooms, or 8 rooms, that wouldn't change the scaling for events. So I think this would be totally doable. And also not going to happen.
If they were to add a 7th or 8th room, well, now you're bringing that 12 rooms up to 14, 16, right? That becomes a problem for them. So I think they are doing the right thing in that sense. And then there was this workaround, this idea that was floated, right? So have a different number of stages depending on which league you're in. So if you're in the I don't know what the bottom league.
Got ahead of myself. I
probably
should read the screen next time.
League. I'm just kidding. Okay, but if you're in starting character and you just joined Crucible, maybe you should only have 3 stages to fill. And then when you grow up one league, then 4, then 5, then 6, and then it kind of stays at 6. Maybe when you get to Masters, Grandmasters, it jumps up to 7, maybe even 8, so that you really have to have your roster develop and you really have to kind of min-max how you're using your teams. And I think that'd be very exciting. However, it just is too difficult in implementation into the code to do that because of the way jumping from leagues works within seasons.
I guess I can see like you can only change the number of rooms you as a player have tagged to you in a patch. Why can't that change from Monday to Tuesday? Why can't that change from Monday to Tuesday? That seems really crazy. And also, yeah, good points here in the chat. What if you're like a 30 million roster, but you can punch up to and fight? I think I just jump up 37 million, a big punch up because you've mastered 6 versus 6 fighting. They do 8 to 8. It's not gonna work. The width of the roster of the Kraken account, the bigger account's gonna eventually overwhelm the more rooms you have. That's just how it works. But there'll still be people who can still beat it. But I think it's weird they can't code. I guess they have to code it they can't tag it per player. They've got to tag it for the whole game mode, which is interesting. I don't know for sure. I don't know.
So for a player who would be in the starting league and then quickly gets promoted up one, it would be difficult for the infrastructure in the game to recognize that and bump them from 3 stages to 4 stages. And so it's not off the table, but the amount of resources it would take for Scopely to get that done right now that's not on the table. So it's not off the table forever. I'm using the word table a lot, but it's something that we could see eventually in the future, which I think would be very cool.
It means they decided not to spend money on it. They could do it, but it would be expensive to do it, to get enough programmers in to do it, and probably have to hire in some outside consultants and stuff. And it's a tight job market, and those guys charge a lot of money these days, and they should. So sorry, IT developer, if you're be a good gig for you, but sorry, no project time allowed for that. But we have a lot of time to spend on making better offers in the store, or more offers.
Cool. It kind of would cater to both parties. You really want your new players to have a good experience, and you really want your long-term players to be able to play with all their toys. Could just do tower. Just saying. All right, so stage crafting. Like, what are they thinking when they're making stages? I think this was a very cool thing that they kind of let us in on. We were shown proposed stage ideas, not what's going to be next season, just proposed stage ideas, and allowed to give instant feedback and concerns. And there was a couple. They're definitely moving in the right direction, but there's still kind of a isolation, in my opinion, on certain characters that people are just going to default to use. And so we did have some feedback for them, and they seemed very open to it. And I'm excited to see what kind of stages we see next season. But from what I saw, they're definitely on the right path.
In what way?
One thing that I was really asking for, and I'd be interested to know your opinion on it, we're unlikely to ever allow war tags in the stage rule. Now, the reasoning behind that is because, you're already doing war 3 times a week. So you're already doing your, 10 to 14 matches.
Right, but know your audience. They're trying to sell people war-specific characters, and then, and their excuse for that is, hey, well, if your alliance isn't big into war, you can skip those characters. It'll be okay. And that's kind of a relief for their mid-level player who spends a little bit here but not much there, who's willing to spend on certain characters. They'll spend on Crucible characters because their alliance doesn't do war, or they'll spend on war characters because their alliance does war but doesn't do Crucible. They're not everyone is the people who buy every character. I am, but not everyone is. And the idea of, hey, make the war bonuses live in Crucible, you think that means like, oh, that means I can build fewer characters and I'm good in both nodes. No, what it means is that whenever a character comes out, whether it's war or Crucible, you're going to have to buy it and build it because you may really want to use it in both game modes, or at least one of the two, right? At least one of the two is gonna hit you, and every time out it's gonna be either war or Crucible or both, and you're gonna end up buying everything because you can't skip anything, and that's actually bad for players. But it's also good for players, good for sales to say, hey, it's war, it'll work in war, and we know it works in war. They're not that great at balancing characters for war and for Crucible and for Arena. You may have noticed this. So, um, yeah. Hey, Kanik, welcome. We're recording reaction to a video, having fun. But yeah, I think that if they, being able to not have war tags in Crucible is way better for free-to-play players. Free-to-play players who don't want to do war can just do Crucible and build and keep their roster a little narrow. Adding war tags makes their roster have to get wider and people buy more things. And it's not great for overall enjoyment. For me, it's great because I have all these characters anyway, but I'm not the problem here.
Per war, so 30, 42 matches.
It's an interesting idea, but it's got to.
Maybe that would just be a bit redundant. You wouldn't like that. My argument to that was, well, if somebody is going to build up their infestation team, this is a nice way for them to be able to double up and get extra use out of it. Same way with nowhere. If someone's been to build up their nowhere team, this is a great way for them to get.
But if they're not going to build these teams, now is one reason why they feel like they have to. That's the flip side.
Get use out of it. I also think it'd be a really good way to pit Crucible teams against war teams and see which team is like the best. Like I would love to see how a full Masters of Evil stands up to nowhere, or a full New Warrior stands up to nowhere. That's something I'd be really interested in knowing.
Yeah.
And also, I just think it opens up the door to a lot of cool interactions between those two tags. But let me know what you guys think in the bottom set in the comments.
That'd be great for the top like 200 players. It's great for the top 200 players, but then once again, we're still going to be using specified teams. We're not going to use very many hybrid things. It's going to be like having, but it's like, oh, I want to see the best grass court tennis player play the best clay court tennis player on equal footing, and have, but they both get their bonuses. I'm like, how, but so we'll put them in hard court where neither one gets their cool bonuses on where they're best. No, we'll put a court where there's grass on one side, clay on the other. I'm like, no, just sometimes the clay court players get rest by skipping the grass events and vice versa, and it's okay. It's pretty cool actually. Specialization is kind of neat. Otherwise, you got to build all the teams all the time. Everybody's more cookie cutter roster if you have used the characters are everywhere. You got to buy everything.
Below, like, how would you feel about war tags being added? Because there's another thing in war where we use all the cookie cutter teams, right? But maybe we would not have to use all the cookie cutter teams. We can use Nova along with Underworld or something crazy like that, right? We can mix and match the best parts of certain teams, probably not teams that rely on having X members for speed bar, but we would be able to.
We're way past that point.
Together. Be very interested to see what you guys have to say in the comment section below.
5-person teams with 5-person team bonuses.
They were clearly trying to do is attempts to give fan favorite characters some love. Like think the current stage 6. Where we had, I believe it was Agent Venom and Symbiote.
Is Rebirth and Agent Venom, are they fan favorites? Because this is breaking news to me. What? Fan favorites? Like, okay. Okay.
It's a little bit of love there because they do share that tag. And trying to see if that would happen. Now, if you're playing at the higher levels of Crucible, you don't see that at all. What you see is Giant Rebirth, being Giant Rebirth, probably with a Nova, a Quicksilver, a Zemo, something like that. So it didn't pan out for us up there, but for...
They really think we're going to substitute in Symbiote Spider-Man, who is so power crept, it's insane? Really? And you think, you know, the players who haven't built Rebirth, that's like probably free-to-play and, you know, free-to-play adjacent kind of coming up, and like, hey, let me use... a character you couldn't possibly have. How would you have gotten Let's waste your time on a character that's not part of the meta for one room and one Crucible. Wow, that's not what people want. No one wants that. Yeah, they want Agent Venom, but they want to, yeah, not in its current form, not in the Rebirth version. Ugh, that's not how it works. Not how any of this works. No one's doing this.
For lower level players, it very well might have, especially with the Agent Venom being a raid character. If they
again, they're not going to go sideways in the roster and build characters that they don't need. They were going to build this one character, which is already Rebirth because of the raid, because it's the raid character. But they weren't going to build other non-meta symbiote characters. We're not going to be purchased and built, and good luck to you guys trying to increase your sales that way. Ha ha ha, we're not that dumb. And the players most likely to even try crazy crap like that are the ones who are least likely to buy something. So come on, Scopely.
Just got them on their way up. I think that is a cool idea. I just wish they would be more blatant about it. Like everyone built up their Captain America, right? So you don't need to do Rebirth, but you can do a huge Captain America room or a huge Hulk room because you made us all build up Hulk. A huge Gambit Rogue room, a huge Iron Man room, a huge Spider-Man room. Like you could definitely zone in on one of the most.
But they're already kind of doing that with the teams. I mean, I run Gamma on defense as it is. Would I be running them? Would I be more likely to run Gamma on defense or offense if Hulk or She-Hulk got an extra bonus? I'm already doing it because I already had to build them to Gear 17 for Apocalypse anyway. What are you talking about?
Celebrated Marvel characters that are in the comics and work from there. Obviously, you wouldn't want to overdo it because then again, you're just getting.
I mean, here's a big fan favorite. Everyone loves Deadpool. He's got what, 2 movies, 3 movies, 2 movies, and spawned all these Gwenpool, Deathpool spin-offs, right? Awesome. Everyone loves Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds freaking buying into the F1 racing, Formula One. It's great, cool. Welcome to Wrexham, big hit success. That's a sidebar, but Deadpool is a big character. Are they make Deadpool have bonuses in Crucible? So are we gonna go back and build them and build a team with? That might be interesting. That might be kind of cool. That's a fan favorite that's getting no love. I don't know. I still don't think it would happen, but it's possible. If it was a fan favorite that was also easy to get and easy to farm in the game, that might make a lot of fun. A farmable fan favorite character and give them a rework, but only reworks only in Crucible. Give them only Crucible tags. Yeah, or I guess the room has Crucible tags, so the character stays the same. That could be interesting. It could be interesting. Again, the devil's in the details and execution and who you pick, and it's got to be just right. And I don't trust these guys to do it, but it could be good. It could be good.
Getting right onto that, boom, like use this character here, kind of thing. But I'm interested to see, like, hear your thoughts, because in the video game, it's always all over the place, right? Like people are like, I really like this character, I really wish it was good, and the other side is, it's a video game. It's based on balancing. Like the new characters are going to be better. Spider-Man was released on launch of the game to build hype for the game. He shouldn't be the best character still. I kind of get both sides of the argument, but I'd be interested to see you guys hash it in the comment section below. All right, so just some minor details that I didn't know about, and I just want to share it with you guys. So your weekly payout is based on the highest league of any person in your bracket. Now, this is mostly only going to occur when you are about to increase your bracket. So say you're at the...
That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. It's based on the bracket you just finished. I was in Masters 2 this week. If I finish 1 through 8, I get the payouts based on the grid in Masters 2. And then next week, I'm in a new league. I get a new payout for that week based on the league that I'm in for that week. It's always worked that way. What are we talking about?
Edge of gold. I believe it gold.
There's no one in your bracket who's not in your league. It doesn't work that way. I've never seen it that way. I've never seen that like 4 in my bracket are Masters 2 and 4 in my bracket are Masters 1. I look and they're all Masters 2. Let me know in the comments down below if you've seen where any people in your bracket were not in the same league that you were in. I've never seen that. I've looked. I haven't looked every time. But what? That's really wild. I've always gotten paid based on the bracket, the league I was in, and finished 1 through 8 based on the league I was in. You can see your rankings for the week when the week starts on Sunday night. You can see the rankings and what your awards are going to be. Weird.
Goes gold 2 to gold 1, or is it gold 1 to gold 2? I forget if it goes up or down. It goes down. So say you're at the edge of gold 1 heading into gold 2.
Have you? Okay.
You're gold 1, but there's a person in your bracket who's in gold 2. For that week, you are going to get gold 2 weekly rewards. Now, this is good. This is very minimal impact on players. It's just kind of thing like if you think you're in a bracket where you're just doing insane punch-ups and nothing makes sense, maybe you are facing people in a bracket higher than you, and as like a little consolation prize, you are at least going to be getting those better rewards. I think that's cool. And that's just
although I guess I'm also like, how would I know? Because all I see is their tribunal ranking, right? So like, I know in my case, if you're in like Masters 2 and you lose a bit, you might be your tribunal rating might be below the threshold for qualifying to get into Masters 2, but you're not kicked until you get below a lower threshold, like 1950 is the threshold to get into Masters 2 or something, or Masters 1, but 1930 is the threshold to get kicked down a level. So maybe you're in that little range between 1950 and 1930, 1950, 1940, maybe it's 1940, and half your bracket could be on the top end of Masters 1 trying to get to Masters 2, and other part of your bracket could be Masters 2 close to in danger of being relegated down to Masters 1. I hadn't thought about that. I guess it's possible that we look through there and just the tribunal rating doesn't tell you what league they're actually in when they're fighting you. I always just figured I got paid out based on the league I was in when I started the week. Never looked. Okay, so that's interesting. So it's the highest league of any one person in your brackets. You got one person in gold 2 and 7 in gold 1. You're all getting paid out based on a gold 2 pay schedule. That's interesting. It's one of the 8,000 things that are never made clear in game.
A little aside, and I think that happens more often with like people in Masters 3 heading to Grandmasters, maybe, or even Masters 2 to Masters 3, Masters 1 to Masters 3, that kind of thing.
It's on the way down.
And
actually,
could we see changes to the current season before it ends? So if we were to see changes to the current season before it ends, because I do believe there's about 50 days left in the season, and they can
7 more
see
weeks.
that people are checking out of this Crucible. Even if
Seasons
you just look
last
at the
too
YouTube
long.
numbers on the videos of people sharing their Cosmic Crucible battles, it is definitely waning because it's all cookie cutter. It is, use X against Y.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks of any new Crucible season, my videos I've already experienced get way more views because everyone's looking for what's the new counter for this? What team's good in room 3? What's good in room 4? What's good over here? What's good counter against what's good over there? By week 5, 6, 7, they're like, yeah, we know. Do this, do this, do this. The scramble is the best part of Crucible. That's the reason why Ultimate 32 that week, it wasn't great because the rules were so great. It wasn't great because there were 5 matches out of 3. The biggest thing was all the chaos. Those are good factors, but the big factor was the chaos, the scramble. We don't know what goes where, and that was actually fun. By the time by the last day of the week, we're like, oh, we think we got it down. It was less fun, but it was like, oh, that was cool. But days 1 through 4 of that were great because we were all scrambling, and Twitch was busy, YouTube was busy, all the activity was a frenzy, and we need more of that. We see shorter seasons, even with bad rules, shorter seasons. Well, shorter seasons. Better for everybody.
A against B, C against D, and that's all it is.
I kind of wanted like season last for a patch and just boom. I mean, every patch, new season. Every patch, new season. Smaller rewards, more frequently, more changes. People got to keep up, and it's fine. I think it's, or 1 every 2 patches. But this is like 3 patches, 4 patches. How many patches are we gonna get? Ugh.
Especially with that Wakanda Masters V, where I'm like, it's the most blatant.
Drove me crazy.
Right? So, could we see some changes? We could in the form of stage changes, but not in a tournament. Unfortunately, they still need to iron out that tournament a little bit more. The Ultimate 32. Speaking of Ultimate 32, let's talk about that.
It was the best.
So the Ultimate 32 tournament was a huge success, both for us players and for
more
them.
Involvement. How could that possibly be? Because it was fun.
And the amount of fun that we had. More are to come. There are eventually going to be more U32 style tournaments. I don't know if they'll have that same name. More to come, but they really need to iron out the structure and the implementation. So when we heard this, a little ding went off my head, like, oh, was it potentially going to have a catastrophic failure and none of it work? But it ran super smooth. If you guys remember Ultimate 32, it ran super smooth. Everyone had a super fun time. It was 5 days of Crucible instead of 3, which was both taxing but also exhilarating at certain times. So more are to come. It was a success.
I loved it. I think it would also reduce anxiety of like, I'm a 2-1, 1-2. Like, well, 3-2 and 2-3 and 4. There were more matches. If you lost one, it wasn't catastrophic for your week. I'll win the next one. You could go 4-1 and still be great. You didn't have like that pressure and stress. And you're like, hey, I'm scrambling, but so are you. We're all scrambling, so it's okay. No one here is perfect. No one's got it nailed down. I don't feel bad for not getting it right. It was freaking great. We'll see this idea of using the breakup seasons, like just make new seasons. Don't like it's halftime of the season. Let's do a 32 tournament just for as a one-off for fun, and then let's go back to our season. Just make new seasons. Just make new seasons. We can rotate. Tower's coming like tomorrow. I think I want to say it's Thursday night, but it could be tonight. I have to check.
Success. And how would you like to see these be implemented? Because this was kind of a way just to jump from the previous season to this season. And I don't even like saying that because 4 of the rooms are the same, so it feels like the exact same season to me, which we'll talk about here in a second. But how would you like to see the tournaments implemented in the future? Would you like to see them used to break a season up into quarters? So say if a season is 4 months, we get an ultimate tournament every month, into thirds. So again, if it's in, I don't know, let's be exaggerative here.
I mean, I would love if every patch, first week of the patch, if we do patch on Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, that first full week, we do Ultimate 32 for a whole week, based on previous season standings, and just duke it out for one set of rewards, and then go right into a season that only lasts the patch 5 weeks. Every new patch, if it's let's say a patch lasts 6 weeks, you get that half week to like figure stuff out. Like, hey, we're in, things didn't break, great. Boom, 1 week of Ultimate 32, scramble, oh my god, boom, and then 4 weeks of like of Crucible season, and then a half week of like, hey, it's about to have patches, let's just simmer down. And so you get 1 week of Ultimate 32, 4 weeks of our normal Crucible, 1 off week, and a new season. And each season goes quicker, and the rules can shift around. It can be, and when that's the case, you can go and do conveyor belt for 4 and only do 2 things per time, because every patch you get 2 new things happening. Oh, things would break. Things always break. I know. Someone like that, maybe. I love dynamic changing is good. That's easy for me to say. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys like and don't like about that idea. But I think it'd be pretty cool. Just let's go.
If it's in 6 months, every 2 months we get a tournament, or in halves. Again, if the tournament is, let's say, 3 months, you break it up every month and a half. We're getting an Ultimate 32 style tournament, kind of to break up the monotony of that season, right? I'd be very interested to hear your
just make a shorter season. It won't be monotony.
In the comment section below. All right, and I think this is the hottest topic that we got to talk about, which was the lifespan of seasons. I know. So the stage structure was obviously more important. Theory crafting, that's obviously the biggest topic. But the lifespan of seasons.
Honestly, I think a bigger topic for me is the lifespan of seasons. You could have broken rooms, good rooms, boring rooms, if they're changing enough, often enough, that was like, oh, new season. We'll deal. This is a bigger deal to me.
Their current target for the lifespan of seasons is 12 weeks. That's roughly 3 months. Why does this feel completely wrong? Well, because Age of X, I think, was 950,000 days. And then this current season just feels like an extension of the previous season, right? All they did was tack on the Rebirth Room and the current Stage 5, which in my opinion is actually very good theory crafting room. The reason they did this was to give players time to invest. So players that maybe didn't build their Reckonans off the rip, they saw it in the stage room, and then they were able to build up their Reckonans, and the season didn't end. So they...
What's a Reckonan? Yeah, I get this point, but why if you say, hey, guess what? This team is out, and they're going to be a big deal for the next Crucible season that starts in 5 weeks. Do that. Just announce the team, release the team. Hey, they're going to get their own special room in Crucible in 6 weeks, in 10 weeks. But for now, just you can shelve them. You can get the shards, not necessarily build too much gear on them, but they're going to be great for Crucible in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks. So you better get them now, because those offers won't be coming around again. If they want to get sales, do that, but just get ahead of it. You just get ahead of it, rather than, hey, look how great Master Evil are in room 4 or whatever, right? Great. Now I'll go buy them, and I'll give you 12 weeks to try to buy them before the season ends. And I'll be great in week 12. Like, people don't do that. People are going to buy them if they can use a new team for a whole season, not mid-season. Go, oh, I can finally come back from gold 2 up to gold 3 if I suddenly drop $500. I'm not going to do that. No one's doing that.
Said that they're very sensitive to the time it takes to build up a team, especially a team like Wakandans, right? They're not exactly a skill rate team because they're not all skill. They're a good war team, but 2 of them are war dogs, not a part of the Crucible team, though I would argue that the war dogs is a better Crucible team than Wakanda anyway.
Correct.
So they're sensitive to the amount of time it takes you to actually build up these characters. And so that was part of the idea of the whole conveyor belt, is so the Wakandans aren't just good on defense for 3 months. They're good for 6 months. And then actually it would have went further and they would have been good for 9 months.
Yeah.
And so that would have given you a really long lifespan on your Crucible characters.
But if they're going to do the conveyor belt, you can make shorter seasons and make more seasons, and they're good room 6, room 5, room 4, room 3, room 2, room 1, and they're out. It could be 6. I'd rather have 6 short seasons than like 3 long seasons. You can still have the same calendar number of days where Wakanda are good on Crucible defense, but mix it up a little bit. Make the other rooms, 4 move around, 2 are new. You can make seasons shorter and still give people time to invest, because like, hey, Unlimited X-Men will still be good in Crucible. Their characters have the Crucible tags in there. They're going to be good in Crucible for a long time. Apex, maybe not, but for a long time, they're still there. So go ahead and buy them. Go ahead and invest.
Now, for our part,
you can still have the money part.
It's just too stagnant. It takes too long. We don't always want to have Wakandans on defense, right? That's not something that we'd like. So I think their intention was good in making your investment maintain value. The implementation, I think, was a little off, in my opinion. I think you make a different stage that also gives Wakandans value in a different way, not in the current way it has. Maybe you do, I don't know, skill or mystic characters get some kind of speed bar, so Black Panther million.
They go without this room, but if you could change the room bonus, still have Wakanda room bonuses
faster, something like that.
Yeah,
but I'd be interested in again.
My chat's right. Wakanda's still a good Crucible team. It was good before they had a room where they were featured and had extra pluses. They were already being very much used in Crucible as it was. So why this is overkill? But also, I think Dorky's got a point there where you can make different Wakanda bonuses. They're good for maybe one season. They're great for Wakanda offense. Next season, they're great on Crucible defense. Who knows? You can mix it up and still have them be useful for Crucible to the point where you guys can sell us the characters, and we can feel confident to go ahead and build them and not be like, oh, they built them for 4 weeks and then they weren't good again ever again. Oh no, what just happened before in this game? So I get that. There's a balance.
What you guys think? What do you think the lifespan should be? For me, 3 months, 12 weeks. That means we're gonna have 4 seasons a year. I could live with that if that was the case. So if there was a complete wipe of the 6 stages and 6 brand new stages came out, I'd be happy with that. But you can't have this conveyor belt thing. That's not something that we can even humor, because it's just brutal, right? Because it doesn't feel like the last season ended. It feels like we've been doing this for 6 months now. I also wouldn't mind it if it was shorter. I wouldn't mind 2 months, 8 weeks of Crucible. Now, when we were bringing up that sort of recommendation, there was a concern that they wouldn't be able to theory craft rooms that would be interesting enough that quickly, because obviously Crucible is not the only thing going on in this game, and they're trying to expand the amount of things in this game. They're trying to bring Tower back. There's always the Scourge legendary events. There's wars. They're working on war teams. There's the Nowhere season right now for war.
How about the Horseman Scourge legendary event things? Because I know a lot of players in the game are like, I know you ran Morgan Le Fay 13 times last year, but I wasn't here. What's gonna happen there? Permanent? Yeah.
Or are we going to see a different season for War coming soon? I think so, right? There's arena teams, there's new raids. So
yeah, the Nowhere Siege for War is supposed to be an experiment and see how long it goes, and they're going to learn from it. So we'll get some changes to War, in 3 years? No. Hopefully the next 6 weeks. I can't imagine. I don't want to play this Nowhere War in current form as it is for longer than that.
There's a lot of moving parts in this game. This game is not Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of modes to play.
That game blows.
So if they needed to craft 6 new rooms every 2 months, maybe that'd be too much of an overload. 3 months, I do think that is a fair 12 weeks of Crucible. Say if we did break that up with tournaments, 6 weeks in we get a tournament and then we get 6 more weeks. I think that would be a nice little mental clear kind of thing, and I'd be very interested in that. So let me know what you guys think about lifespans. And now here's the last slide, guys. Dorky's concerns.
Ooh.
I might be the bad guy because I brought up the idea that look, I get where you were going with your super cookie cutter ideas. The Tangled Web Eternal Room is an absolute nightmare. It was just way overtuned, but they built a team to beat the overtune. They built the New Warriors to beat it. Same with Wakandans. They built.
you may have heard this before on our content. They create a problem and then sell us a solution. Yeah.
This ridiculous room, but they built a team with the exact mechanics to beat it. Now, those exact mechanics are crazy powerful. So with two teams, like New Warriors and like Masters of Evil, how can they make 6 defensive stages that we can't just power through? How does offense not automatically just beat the bricks off defense if we don't have these ridiculous cookie cutter steroid boosts for these teams, right? My concern would be that if they don't have really powerful defensive rooms, it just becomes an efficiency battle in every single room, right? You just throw up.
And I hate that.
Up the most annoying teams on defense, teams that have like safeguard and defense up. So you go ahead, you throw Infinity Watch on there, you go ahead and you throw Unlimited on there, you go ahead and you throw Darkhold on there. Maybe you throw, what's another team that's annoying? A Death Seed, because they do a blind, something like that. Maybe we just throw teams that it's going to take you more than 5 or 6 turns to beat, and then whoever can figure that out the best is going to win. That would be my concern, because the offensive teams we have blow everything out of the water. Look, Masters of Evil against Unlimited, it's not a question. Masters of Evil punch up against Unlimited like 500k. So without them getting like crossed off the counter list by having this ridiculous, it is a ridiculous Wakanda room, how do they strike that balance between offense and defense? And I don't know. Besides just having really powerful defense callouts in certain stages, like defending characters here, spawn with speed bar, spawn with speed up. Like imagine if they had a room that any character on defense here spawns with speed up. Well, that is now going to be my Masters of Evil room. Now that would suck because it feels like they're saying this is your Masters of Evil room. But maybe we can find a different team that can handle the speed up of whatever your opponent throws there, right? Maybe your Darkhold becomes an offensive team now, because even though they get speed up, Morgan Le Fay is getting speed bar every turn they take. They have defense up on spawn as well as safeguard, so maybe that protects them. And then maybe that person overloads that room. They put Apocalypse in that room, so it takes away safeguard. That kind of thing is where my head goes to. But again,
yeah, chat says one big problem with efficiency battles is that it kind of becomes RNG, right? Certain RNG things that make a point here, a point there, or it could be 5 points. Like the person, this character revives or doesn't quite die and revive, you have to whole cycle back around before you can kill them off. It's a whole thing where that's a lot of the minor points where we're losing by 7 points. It could be RNG. The other important thing is that if you make defenses not matter, then people like me who have built up a wider roster, who invested more, been here for 5+ years, all the things, I know veteran players, reward your veteran players, whether you're a spender or not. Veteran players have got a little wider roster. You're making my team 7 through 12 that I've got on defense or whatever, you're making them less useful. I'm having to do dumb things like try to prolong the match for 4 or 5 points versus like a defense that can get a win. I like the defense have a chance to actually win, and I like to win with the 400 points. That's the thing. It's either a bit of RNG with offense always wins, defense always loses. It can be a little RNG, or it's people who spend a lot of time practicing or writing down one little turn order here, one little turn to get 1 point here, 1 point there, 1 point there. And I don't think that's the point of Crucible. I think the point of Crucible, is to find clever, creative, cool counters to beat cool defenses that you didn't think you could beat. That's Crucible's more fun. Is chess. I'm like, I'm putting this defense that'll confuse you, and you'll think you can do this, but he doesn't know that I know that you know that I know that you know, and doing things right. I think that's the cool part of Crucible, is kind of the back and forth chess match. But right now it's like Master Evil and Wakanda. You're going to get gangbang. If you don't do the turn order quite right, you might get 2 points here or 2 points there. And if that decides your match, what was the point of the rest of it? Why have other characters? Why do other things? What's the point? So I want defense to matter. I don't want to do a full turtle. I also don't want full total offense where it's all efficiency. I want a good balance. I like to have just enough defense to cause somebody to have to back out, redo the fight because they brought the wrong team. They didn't notice that you had this character or that character. They didn't notice this part of the kit that we read the kits for. That's the clever part. The theory crafting part. And I think there's more theory crafting on defense than there's on offense, but right now they've taken it away from us.
Interested to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is offense just completely trumping defense a non-factor for anybody but me? I could be the bad guy. I could be completely wrong, and if I am, let it be known in the comment sections below, and I'll share that with them, that my thoughts, my concerns that offense might just be too good was stupid, and we'll go from there. That's gonna be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Have yourself a great day. Bye.
So yeah, I mean, and I'll add on. I want more defense to matter. I don't want full turtles. I don't want to be impossible to clear. But I'll say, because the currency, we need currency for the stores. Well, make the stores better where the currency matters. I'll buy that argument. But I was perfectly fine if I cleared 5 rooms and not the sixth one, and my opponent cleared 4 rooms and not 2 of them. I counted that as kind of fun. You might think that's a slog. Oh God, no. But it's fun because there was a reason. I was like, haha, I did this cool thing and I caused them to have to trip up. I think if you play a football game and there's no turnovers and no punts and everybody scores a touchdown every single play, but it's like, oh, but one team had to get a field goal, not a touchdown, and that's why they lost. That might seem fun, but it's actually not interesting for me as a longtime fan of those sports. I don't want that to happen. It's like, oh, we got 10 home runs and you only got 9 home runs, so we win. I'm like, yeah, offense is fun, but up to a certain point, it's like, what happened? Oh, we got a holding penalty. There was it hit off the wall. The guy, you know, it went foul by a foot. Like these little stupid things that aren't really controllable, or might seem controllable, but really aren't. Who has the ball last wins. Yeah, I don't. It's like a basketball game where no one can play any defense. Everybody scores. Like, well, what's the point? Let's just play horse. Why bother with the sport? That's my thing with Crucible. I want enough defense. The defense has to matter that I have to think about both parts, not just just build 6 great offense teams and then la 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 on defense. Just put up a 50,001 85 and you'll be fine. Like, okay. I don't find those matches enjoyable. I've won those. I've lost those. It's not about me losing them. It's that I just don't find them enjoyable. There's a lot of pressure to like, well, I better kill on the basic here, especially. And it's not just, and you'll find there is some RNG because you can do the same exact turn order with the same exact teams, but it can go a little off. Sometimes things get resisted. Sometimes effects don't get resisted. Sometimes the chain gets broken here, not there. There's all kinds of stuff. So I just want to say I look forward to some choices. I hope that they make shorter seasons. I hope that we get a little more defense meta. I hope they tell us what teams ahead of time we need to build so you get that investment time so you can prepare for it. And I hope that we do get new rooms. And I don't think it strikes me as odd. I feel like if they do shorter seasons, do the conveyor belt, and only 2 new rooms per season, and that room kind of can stay with the conveyor belt, how hard is it to do 2 new rooms every so often? You can design 6 new rooms right now and just always have two that go live and 4 that you're still working to see if they're worthy of going live. And your development team can just keep going until there's 2 good enough to do live. That's not, to me, that difficult because they don't have to be super amazing, like super different. Just instead of defense up, it goes defense down. Instead of offense up, like small little changes to the room can be enough to change a huge deal. I love room 5 with ults take more turns or the specials take more turns, the ults take fewer turns or whatever. You can flip both of those, flip it around. If you change the specials, the ults, the special, the rules, that would be a different enough room. They wouldn't have to do a super recoding. You just put +2, -2, wait, +2, -2. And you have a whole new room. It changes how everything interacts. That would be enough to make changes. That's all we need. We don't have to have super revolutionary rooms, just new rooms. It'll be fine. But in the meantime, it's a very long video. Thanks for sticking through all this. Let me know down below. You guys watch my Crucible videos, right? Are you watching all of them? Make sure you're subscribing. It's free on YouTube to subscribe. Let me know, what would you want to see to make Crucible more interesting? And not just like less of Al doing them. No, but for your own Crucible matches, what do you want to see? What would you actually think it would be great? Combined with what do you think they're actually going to do? So let me know down below. In the meantime, MC Door is coming to a close here on YouTube. Join us on twitch.tv/AmbassadorAl. It's a great time. We interact. It's fun, real time. In the meantime, go out, maybe touch grass, have fun, live a life. Have a good time out there. It's all about having fun. And we'll see you next time here on YouTube and hopefully on Twitch. Have a good day. Keep playing. Stay winning. Peace.